And now we've learned that Mike Tomlin has given a career status update. What's that all about? I assume you've heard by now if you've been paying attention, but perhaps you were that kid that didn't pay attention in school. So we have learned that Mike Tomlin will be back. I'll be back, allegedly, to coach the Pittsburgh football team for another season. That is what he apparently told the team. According to various reports, there was a team meeting the day after the damage had been done, in which Mike Tomlin, in addition to letting everyone know that he would be back on the team, he also said that speculation about his stepping aside was, quote, unfounded. Okay, let us discuss. The question for us, for the honorable electorate, the question is this. Mike Tomlin saying that the chatter about his Steeler future, which has gone on the last month, 2 months, was, quote, unfounded. Is that based in any kind of reality? So I'll go first. You can chime in later. I'll give you how you can chime in later in a few minutes. But to answer the question, Mike Tomlin saying chatter about the Steelers' future for him was unfounded. That is not based in reality. I've got Gas Company, Cubbies, and Pet Boys. If it is reality, it's an alternative reality. How about that? It's not my reality. It's an alternative reality. Now, this was not unfounded chatter about Mike Tomlin. Not at all. Not at all. It was fair game. And what are we doing here? Like, I saw Tomlin, his comments that bounced around. I was like, are we talking about the Twilight Zone? Picture, if you will, a world where Mike Tomlin's name is being bandied about, connected to various TV jobs, the old, I want to spend more time with my family. He's going to consult with his family before he decides whether or not to come back. All of that, and then the Steelers go out and they lay an egg against the Bills, and Mike Tomlin has a hissy fit. He's stormy and storms off the stage, huffing and puffing, right, when asked a basic question about his job status in Pennsylvania. How's that unfounded? In what world is that unfounded? Can you let me know I'm not that bright? Seriously. How's that unfounded? Mike Tomlin, with the part of the story that came out here the last 24 hours, Mike Tomlin is working for the gas company. He's gaslighting you. He's gaslighting me. He's gaslighting everyone. Psychological manipulation. He's attempting to sow seeds of doubt, making you and I question our own memory, our perception, and sanity. Right? All these insiders that were, Tomlin might not be coming back. They're not going to fire him, but he might not be coming back. That was all unfounded. All unfounded. Yeah, right. That's the ticket. All right, now page 2. So Tomlin, if you are to believe the scuttlebutt, subject to change, will come back. We'll believe it when we see it. He's going to talk to the media in the next couple of days. But what needs to change for Mike Tomlin as we advance forward in time? So what needs to change? The Steelers consistently a playoff team, also consistently sucking in the playoffs. So the Steelers right now have learned how to tread water. They're not treading water in the cesspool. They're treading water in the ocean of mediocrity. That's the ocean, not the Pacific, not the Atlantic, the ocean of mediocrity. And from what we are hearing here, the Steelers have just allowed, in the last 5 playoff games for Mike Tomlin, they allowed the highest total points allowed combined in any 5-game playoff stretch in NFL history. That goes back a number of years, but the Steelers have always bragged about their defense. Well, they didn't have their best player, T.J. Watt. Okay. So they have nobody else. The player's gone. Nobody can fill in. Now, my advice to Tomlin as we move forward here, not that I have any skin in the game, is to take a page out of the Cubbies manager's old playbook, Joe Madden, and his philosophy when the Cubs won the World Series was try not to suck. And that would be a good start for the Steelers because they have sucked in the postseason. I remember a few years ago, Tomlin lost to Jacksonville and Blake Bortles in the playoffs. I would have fired him right there. If I'm not mistaken, Tomlin lost to Tim Tebow in the playoffs as well. But the last 5 playoff games, Steelers have allowed 202 points defensively. 202 points. Now, Tomlin, at this point, it's been this way for a while, he is a tenured professor. It's never a good thing. Even by Steelers standards, things are starting to get a little wacky in the Berg. They are. I'll tell you what. Here's the number. I think we mentioned this the other night in a previous episode of the show, but Chuck Noll lasted 12 seasons after winning his fourth championship in the glory days of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He lasted 15 seasons after that. I was just talking the other day to a friend of mine who has covered the NFL for a long, long time. We were talking about how things got really stale with Chuck Noll, but they wouldn't get rid of Chuck Noll. They kept him around. They should have gotten rid of him at least a few years earlier than they did. And here we are at another fork in the road. You've got Mike Tomlin, who has currently lasted 15 seasons after winning the lone championship that he has with Bill Cowher's leftovers in Pittsburgh. Now, I like Tomlin. I'm a fan. He's good for what I do, but that is a massive gap when that is supposed to be the standard in Pittsburgh. And then you have the Komodo dragon in the room. Now, what is the Komodo dragon in the room? Mike Tomlin being called out for the culture. It's all about the culture. Running back Najee Harris, not a very good player, says the Steelers need to change in-house rules, is the way he phrased it after their latest playoff loss. So what does it mean when you say you need to change in-house rules? What does that mean? Mike Tomlin, to me it means that Tomlin is too fast and loose with the rules, that Najee Harris played for Nick Saban at Alabama, and he wants more of a hard-line experience playing for the Pittsburgh football team. That this has been the argument. This has been one of the arguments. The Steelers make the playoffs every year, but the players do what the hell they want, when they want, how they want. They can show up to meetings late. They can cut corners, and Tomlin looks the other way and gives them the benefit of the doubt, and they make the playoffs, so who the hell cares? Now, the last word here. We're going to pivot away from Pittsburgh. Headline from the Bayou, Coaching Shakeup 2.0. Coaching Shakeup 2.0. Now, earlier this offseason for teams that were eliminated, as we head into the divisional round during the regular season, Jacksonville fired their entire defensive staff. They kept the coach, but they got rid of all of the defensive assistants, blaming them, putting the finger on them for losing in Jacksonville. Now the Saints have said bye-bye to their offensive coordinator. Pete Carmichael Jr. goes back a long, long time with the Voodoo Boogaloo in New Orleans, but he's out. Offensive coordinator gone, Pete Carmichael. Several other high-profile offensive assistants have been shown the door, but Pete Carmichael has been there for a long time. So why did he get whacked in New Orleans? Well, this was a sacrifice. It was deja vu, but not the nudie bar. It was deja vu because in Jacksonville, they sacrificed the defensive staff to save their coach, Doug Peterson. And now in New Orleans, they sacrificed their offensive coaching staff for Dennis Allen, for Dennis bleeping Allen, who's inevitably going to be fired anyway. Now, I don't know much about Carmichael. He's been around for a long time. I don't know whether I can coach his way out of a paper bag or not, but he survived the Drew Brees era and a couple years after Drew Brees left. But the thing that did in Pete Carmichael in New Orleans was Cars Land. Not the kind at Disneyland, the other kind, because the Saints offense needed to go to Pep Boys. They did, right? They were missing in clutch moments. Where have we seen that before from Derek Carr, the coach killer? In the red zone, you had smells of burning, leaking, and overheating. The car was malfunctioning. The Saints got to the red zone a lot. They were really good this season going between the 20s. In fact, they were in the top 10 in red zone opportunities. But in converting those red zone opportunities, they were close to 20th in the NFL. That is a junkyard jamboree. So who's next? A lot of connecting of the dots. There was a rumor a couple weeks ago about John Gruden. So is it going to be John Gruden? Highly unlikely, and here's why. Gruden, you talk about being at a fork in the road. John Gruden has an active lawsuit against the NFL. Remember they leaked all those emails to get John Gruden removed as coach of the Raiders, and it worked by Big Brother. They leaked it to like the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, friends of the league office there on Park Avenue in Manhattan. So John Gruden's got this lawsuit, which, oh, by the way, he's winning at this point. He's winning the lawsuit. The NFL's tried to get it thrown out of court several times. I believe it's in the Nevada State Supreme Court, and then it'll keep going up. The NFL is going to try to delay because John Gruden has the goods. And more importantly for the NFL, they do not want the rest of that email to go into discovery, because if this goes high enough in the court system and it doesn't get thrown out, then John Gruden and his legal team will have access to every single email. And you want to take a bet, just between me and you, that there's a lot of other stuff in there that's really nasty about people that right now are seen in the good graces of the NFL. I'm going to go out on a limb and say yes. And I think you agree with me on that, right? So the NFL wants to keep that under wraps. The issue for Gruden is this. Does he want to slay the dragon, take down the firewall around the NFL, take down the shield, do damage because the NFL ruined him? Or does he want to take a position that at this point is beneath him? He's a head coach and become an offensive coordinator, offensive assistant. You get to eat a lot of gumbo and po' boys and all that, but you're not going to be the head coach, although it likely would be eventually. But you damage your lawsuit because the NFL is going to say, well, yeah, you sued, but they do the whole yeah, but it's not that. But you got a job in the NFL. You weren't blackballed out of the NFL. You got a job. You weren't ostracized. You were given a job by the New Orleans Saints. Yeah, but. Calm down, Chucky boy. What's wrong with you?